just begin with a simple breath control technique just to prepare the inner atmosphere. So everyone, please close your eyes. So hand position for this process, taking the thumb of the right hand. This will be used to block the right nostril. First two fingers touching slightly above the third eye. Third and fourth fingers will be used to block the left nostril. So this is how we start. So thumb blocking the right nostril, starting with the left nostril open, slowly taking a deep inhale, 4 seconds. Blocking both nostrils, holding for 4. Releasing the thumb from the right nostril, exhaling 4 seconds. From there, inhaling right nostril, 4 seconds. Blocking both nostrils together, once again, holding 4. Completing the cycle, releasing left nostril, exhaling 4 seconds, and repeating. There's countless different breath control techniques in yoga. Of all the breath techniques, if I were to say you exclude all of them but retain just one of them, it is this alternate nostril breathing. Yoga, we've talked about 72,000 nadis, that is 72,000 subtle energy pathways within the energy body. All 72,000 nadis can be cleansed with this one nadi shuddhi, alternate nostril breathing. On a physical level, this helps to bring an equilibrium between the left and the right brain hemispheres. What is the left brain? Logic, analysis, rational mind. Right brain hemisphere. Passive, receptive, intuitive in nature. And letting go. And I'll repeat a mantra, and then I'll explain what is its inner meaning. In the meantime, just simply listening to the sound of the mantra.
Can you please speak loudly?
Yes, is my volume okay? A little higher? Okay. So. Asatum Satgamaya Tamasum Jyotirgamaya Mrityum Amritum Gamaya Asatum Satgamaya. Asat, it literally means untruth. Sat means asatoma. So asatoma means untruth. Ma means me. Sat means truth. Gamaya means to lead. So lead me from untruth to truth. Tamasum Jyotirgamaya. Tamas means literally darkness. Ma means me. Jyotir means light. Gamaya means to lead. Lead me from darkness to light. Mrityum Amritum Gamaya. Mrityo means fear of death. Ma means me. Amritum. In yoga there's something called amrita, which is the nectar of immortality. It's said that when the yogi drinks the nectar of immortality, he becomes immortal while living in the body. This should not be taken literally. We are talking about a certain way of perception. When you come to know a dimension within the human system, which is beyond the limits of the body and the mind, which is birthless and deathless, coming to know that nature, this is called yoga amrita, the nectar of immortality. So, what is yoga? Can anybody tell me? Has probably all heard the word yoga. What is the meaning of yoga? Any ideas? Union. In English language, there's a word called yoke. To yoke, it means literally to unite. So when we talk about yoga, we are not talking about, first and foremost, this is a great misunderstanding, because once yoga became a commercialized force in the Western world, its original spirit was very much lost and distorted over time. Now it's just you type in on YouTube, you type in yoga, and you're just looking at various different bending, twisting the body, and all kinds of fanciful postures. That is not even scratching 5% of what is yoga. So, if I were to describe the spirit of what is yoga, I'll tell you a short story. Once there was a master who had a young disciple. And this disciple constantly, all the time, he was complaining about the miseries of his life, day in and day out. One day the master wanted to prove a point. So he told the young student, okay, go get me a cup of water, get some salt, take a handful of salt, throw it into the water, and tell me what it is you experience. So the student did as he was instructed. He had a taste of the water. The master then asked, now tell me, how does it taste? He said, it tastes totally bitter. I've never tasted something so bitter in my life. Then the master went out with the disciple. He took him to a very calm, quiet lake. He told him, now do exactly the same thing. Just take a handful of salt, throw it into the water, have a taste of the water, tell me what it is you experience. The student did as he was instructed. The master then asked, how does it taste? He said, totally fresh. I've never tasted something so fresh in my life. The master then responded in exactly the same way. All the pain, pleasure, and suffering of your life, including pleasant experience, is just like a handful of salt. Not more, not less. However, if you expand the container, if your sense of being is enlarged, if your sense of consciousness is enlarged, then all the pleasures and pains of your life, which are very fleeting, there still remains a certain silence within you that remains undisturbed. So stop living like this limited glass of water. Become the vastness of the lake. So, the vastness of who you are is perhaps not something that is yet known in our experience, because we are living too much identified with either the body or the mind. Body, obviously, is a gathering of matter. We slowly accumulated it over time. One day we will have to drop the body. Is it not also true with the mind? Mind is also what? A gathering of impressions, memories, and experience. We slowly gathered it over time. One day we will also have to drop the mind. But is there another dimension within you that is the basis, which is the foundation for the body and the mind? So if we are to erect a structure, we must start from the very foundation. Without this foundation, how will we build the higher structure of the body and the mind? It's just not possible. So that's just simple, basic chemistry, that the whole universe is reflected within you. I'm saying it's much more than that. From the finite to the infinite, every dimension of the creation is at work within you. So I know we call this the holistic Expo, right? What does holistic mean? It means whole, that which is wholesome. If I were to describe it, it means basically when you see an ant, you don't just see an ant. You see a flower, you don't just see a flower. You see a tree, you don't just see a tree. You see a mountain, you don't just see a mountain. You see the whole universe is at work in the ant, the mountain, the tree, the flower. So what is modern science saying? Everything in existence is just one cosmic energy, expressing itself in multiple different forms. So the water can become gas, the gas can become water, the water can become solid as ice. They appear different to our senses, yet it is actually one and the same energy. So if this is true with everything in the creation, isn't it true with your own system? The system must be of the same cosmic energy. So, consciousness is also energy. So in other words, if you come to know what is the original nature of your own consciousness, this is one and the same as coming to know the original nature of matter, because these two are not separate. So, in yoga, we are not talking about a belief system, a philosophy, or any kind of theory. In the East, what is interesting is that you look, there's so many different interpretations, so many different philosophies, and yet one common factor that remains the same throughout is the technology of yoga. So Sikhs have practiced yoga, Buddhists have practiced yoga, Hindus have practiced yoga, atheists have practiced yoga. So many different theories and beliefs, and yet all have made use of the technology of yoga. We also have a technology to explore the system from within. And it's very much a science. So if we are to look at any kind of science, whether it's chemistry, whether it's physics, every science has its own methods of investigation. What does the astronomist do? He directs the power of his observation and throws it onto the canvas of the sky. What does the chemist do? He throws the power of his observation to understand the test tubes and all the things that are happening in the laboratory. So, the scientist and the yogi, they're both involved in exactly the same process. The scientist is knocking on the door of the universe externally. The yogi is knocking on the door of the universe from within. Now, if you came to know what is the cosmic wealth that you've inherited, as I've said, with this, the whole universe is at work within the human system. How is it possible for you to live miserably in life? You would know very well, just this system alone, everything is totally self-sufficient. And yet still people are dragging themselves through so much unnecessary suffering. So to me, this is the fundamental question for human well-being. If we don't address this question, we've not really addressed enduring human well-being, which is this. In a universe where everything is in a constant state of change, nothing will remain at rest even for a brief moment. Planets are in movement around the sun, the solar system itself is in a state of motion, the Milky Way galaxy is itself in a state of motion. Nothing will remain at rest even for a brief moment. If this is the nature of the creation, everything is in a constant state of change, here's the fundamental question. how is enduring happiness and well-being possible? There's a good reason why in yoga we've always talked about non-attachment, non-attachment, non-attachment. And we've said that if you come to know what is your original nature, to live out of this freedom is simply inevitable.